Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Physics 302, Section 2. In today's session, we're going to go over, the following. So the class presentation assignments. I'm going to answer any questions you may have concerning how to prepare your presentation and submit it. We'll talk about graduating seniors. The finals are set to take place next week. And then we'll talk about Edmonton. Access has been restored, and today is the last day to complete the end of semester test if you had not completed it before the account became inactive. And then we'll talk about final exam practice problems and the length and format of the final exam, and of course, any other questions that may arise. So let's begin with the first topic, which is the class presentation assignments. So if you have access to Flipgrid, when you log into Flipgrid, this is what you would see. The instructions says every student is to prepare a maximum of 5 slides and record a voice over PowerPoint video on the topic assigned. Upload your voice over PowerPoint video to Flipgrid by 11:59 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, May 11th. Now for graduating seniors, I understand your classes end this Friday, so feel free to submit your presentation earlier, but you have the same deadline because the school doesn't end on Friday, so you can still submit it till the 11th. But if you want to be done with before your finals, you can submit it early. It's a 5-minute presentation, 5 slides on a single concept. It's not like you have to prepare a whole lecture. Now, each presenter will also submit a video response to questions related to their presentation topic by the same deadline. So there'll be a new topic called Final Class Reflection, and I'm going to post a series of questions related to experience in this class and the presentation. So that'll be the final Flipgrid activity. So both are expected to be completed by next Tuesday. The grading is as follows. Your voice over PowerPoint video will be rated or graded out of 70 points or 70%, and 30 points will go to your video feedback. So the remaining 2 assignments will add up to 100. Now, how to create or prepare a voice over PowerPoint. You have a YouTube video attached, in which I go over the steps of how to create a voice over PowerPoint. So make sure you watch this video. So if you click on this link, it should take you to this video.
Hi everyone, in this tutorial, we're going to go over the steps of recording voice over PowerPoint, also known as narrated PowerPoint video. So first, you're going to prepare your 5 PowerPoint slides on the topic that was assigned to you. And then in your presentation, you're going to navigate to the slideshow menu, click on record slideshow. So this window should appear on your computer, and on the top left corner, you can see the record button, the red circle. So click on record when you're ready. It will count down from 3 to 1, and then you can begin presenting your slides as though you are presenting to a live audience. Remember to pace yourself as you advance through your slides so that your presentation stays within 5 minutes. So in this example, I'm going to review the concept of force from Module 4. Definition of force. Force is defined as a push or a pull. It's a vector. The SI unit of force is the and vector component, which is the analytical. We will use the analytical method for PowerPoint so to recap the steps of creating a voiceover PowerPoint is to first of all prepare the slides you want to record. In your PowerPoint presentation, click on the record button on the top left corner. Click on record and then begin your presentation as if you're presenting to a live audience. Advance the slides and pace yourself so that your entire presentation stays within 5 minutes. Click on stop when you're done. So here is the stop button. And then click on File, Export Video, and specify where to export the recorded video. Wait until your video is completely exported, and then upload your video to Flipgrid. And very quickly to...
Okay, so here's the video I was talking about. I know a few students emailed me asking where to find the instructions. So the instructions are in Flipgrid and in this video. Now, just to point out that the link on this slide is a link from an old course, like 2 years ago. So don't attempt to type in this link. This was just an example. You will log into Flipgrid as you currently do for your regular weekly discussions. And in Flipgrid, you see a topic for class presentation, and that's where you will follow steps number 4 to 7. So step number 2, ignore step number 2. That link is outdated. If you attempt to access this link, it will tell you it's not accessible. Now, I also want to point out that the steps outlined in this short tutorial video kind of assume that you're working on a Windows computer. So if you're working on a Mac computer, the steps may be slightly different, but recognize that on a Mac computer, you have various recording tools. You have the QuickTime video screen recorder. You can also use, on any computer, you can also use the Zoom application to record a presentation. Just launch a meeting in Zoom and share your PowerPoints on the screen, and then click on record to your computer. And as you present, after presenting, you stop the recording and upload the recorded video to Flipgrid. So you can really use any recording tool to accomplish this. But the first step is you have to create 5 slides on your topic. And once you're satisfied, then record yourself presenting those 5 slides. And once you're satisfied, and make sure it's under 5 minutes, because Flipgrid will not allow you to upload anything that's longer than 5 minutes. On the other hand, you can submit a video that's less than 5 minutes. if all your content fits into a 3.5-minute video, that's perfectly acceptable. But you cannot, submit anything that's longer than 5 minutes. Now back to Flipgrid. To access the presentation topic assignments, this Google spreadsheet link right here will take you to the presentation topics. And everyone in this class will see you look at your name under presenter names, and then the topic is under topics. And again, if you look at this, all of these topics are like learning outcomes from the textbook. And you can craft your presentation entirely with content from the textbook. So for example, number 1 says, with examples, explain the application of Kirchhoff's junction rule to a multi-loop circuit at a given junction. So this is specific to the junction rule, not the loop rule. It's not saying discuss all the, Kirchhoff's rules, but it says the junction rule. So you're going to define what is a multi-loop circuit, maybe show an example, and then next, define or tell the audience what is a junction. And then with an example or a sample circuit, you can then say, if we have, these 3 currents with direction shown, then you show the class or the audience how to apply the junction rule to that junction. And most of these topics have really been discussed in class. So just from your notes, you could also, craft a presentation. The goal here is not for you to create new knowledge, but to practice or to learn the skill of compiling relevant information on a topic and explaining it to an audience. So you assume that the people you're talking to do not have any, prior understanding of the topic you're trying to teach them. So essentially, consider yourself like a 5-minute instructor. So it's like you're the instructor in this class for 5 minutes on a single concept. Don't try to teach the whole course. Okay, so that's why the time limit is very strict, because 5 minutes is more than enough for you to complete the explanation. If your content takes you beyond 5 minutes, that means you've likely gone out of the scope of your topic. The second presenter, it says, with examples, explain the application of the loop rule. So similar, but this time loop rule. So you again show what is a multi-loop circuit. What is a loop? What do you mean by loop? And then with an example, a real example with resistors and currents and EMFs, you then show how, first of all, you write the equation for the loop rule, and then you explain the rules that you have to follow to apply that rule. For instance, the sign convention, when you go across a resistor in the direction of the current or opposite the current, the sign convention when you go over an EMF source from positive to negative or negative to positive. So you describe all those things, and then use a short example with numbers and show the class how one would apply the loop rule to solve such a problem. The next presenter says, explain internal resistance and show how to calculate the internal resistance of a battery supplying power to a circuit given the terminal voltage and EMF. So assume you know the EMF, you know the terminal voltage, and the current. How would you compute the internal resistance? So you may want to define or explain what is internal resistance, what is EMF, what is terminal voltage, and then write the equation connecting these variables, and then give an example how you would determine the internal resistance. So the topics are very straightforward, but if anyone doesn't understand or is not sure what to do on their assigned topic, you're welcome to sign up for an office hour appointment using my personal availability link that is available in the course, the very first link in the course in Blackboard. Look for the open times on my schedule and set up a meeting, and I'll be glad to discuss your topic with you, because the worst mistake you want to make is submitting a presentation that is out of topic, because that will not be excusable. You simply receive a failing grade for the presentation, because the topics are very direct and clear enough that I expect everyone to to not score less than 90% on the presentation. So if you have any doubts, reach out to me and I'll be glad to clarify what is expected. So those are the topics. And again, the deadlines are firm, given, especially for, given that next week I'll be administering final exams for graduating seniors. Now, the next thing is graduating seniors. Before we move on, is there any question about the assignment topics, the presentation topics? Is there any question on the presentation topics? If there's no question, use the reaction button to click on no or the X. Okay, somebody says, is the title slide included in the 5 slides maximum? No. So the title slide and the references slide are not counted. So you have a maximum of 5 content slides. Besides that, you can include a title slide that has the topic of your presentation, your name, and this class. So essentially the cover page. And then you have 5 slides to discuss your topic. And then this the last slide will contain references. So if you obtain information from the textbook, you cite the textbook. If it's a class textbook, then cite the class textbook. If it's a different textbook or any other source, give appropriate, attribution to where you got the information. Any other question? If there's no other question, then we'll move on to the next topic, which is graduating seniors. So the graduating seniors final for this class, are there any graduating seniors in here?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know when your final is scheduled for this class?
The 12th, right?
Okay, so it's the 12th, May the 12th, and that is exactly, today is what?
Today's the 6th.
The 6th. So the 12th should be, that's a Wednesday, right? That's next Wednesday. So it's like 6 days, roughly 6 days from today. And by the end of today, I'm going to set up the exam window for graduating seniors in ProctorU. Remember, there's a 3-day cutoff, 72 hours, but I'm setting up the exam window today, which is 6 days from the final. So you have more than enough time to set up your appointment. But if you fail to set up your appointment timely and wait till the last minute, again, the understanding is that you will pay the late scheduling fee, but the window will be set up today. If you don't see it by the end of the day today, send me an email. So you go ahead and sign up. And so on Monday, there will be an evening tutorial session, again from 7 to 8:30. And I'll give preference to graduating seniors again, because the non-graduating seniors will still have, other class periods, opportunities to review before the final. So, but you have to sign up through the EAB link so that I can see who is committed to attending the session. Now, the final exam in this class for graduating seniors and the rest of the class is comprehensive because we've completed the 8 modules. So it will cover the content of test number 1, test number 2, test number 3, test number 4. And so the length of the exam will be 2 hours and 2 times the number of questions on the regular test. That is roughly 40 problems. And the composition of the problems will be similar to the test. So you have multiple choice, you would have like matching types of problems, like match this quantity with another. You would have multiple choice, maybe you have to select the correct definition of a term or units. You would have quantitative problems where you have to solve a problem and enter the numerical answer in for the problem. And for all those type of problems, the recommendation is always not to enter units with it, because when you enter units, then Blackboard is not able to interpret your answer because it expects a number, not characters. That's why I always include a disclaimer saying do not include the units, just enter your numeric answer. And only enter your answer in scientific notation if the question specifically says that. If it doesn't say enter it in scientific notation, just enter the raw number in the decimal format as you obtain from your calculator to the specified number of significant figures. If it says 3 significant figures, if you don't enter a number in your answer in 3 significant figures, you may lose some credits. So always pay attention to those minute details. Any question from the graduating seniors? No question. So let's move on to Edmonton. So access was restored yesterday, and I sent an announcement immediately indicating that you have up till the end of today to complete the end of semester test if you haven't already done so. So this test was supposed to have been completed by last week, even before we lost access. But because I didn't send out a separate announcement, I decided to give that extension till the end of today. So if you haven't done the end of semester test in Edmonton, please complete it today. And at the end of today, that's the final opportunity. I intend to pull in the grades tomorrow, and you will see updated grades and your final Edmonton grade. So anyone who doesn't complete the end of semester test by the end of today, there will be no second chance to do that. Now, you will always have access to the tutorial, so you can always go back to the tutorials to review as you prepare for the finals. But like I explained earlier, it's not possible to open the test because if you attempt the test again, it will change your grade. And that means we have to restart the process of compiling the grades over again. And that is not possible, at this time. Final exam practice problems. So the final exam practice problems cumulatively are made up of the practice problems from modules 1 to 8, or essentially the practice problems for test number 1, test number 2, test number 3, test number 4. So the final exam problems will look similar to the problems you've encountered on these 4 tests, but they will be different numbers, maybe different variables, but it's the same content. So to prepare for the final, use the practice problems from test number 1 to test number 4. And you can attempt extra end of chapter problems that are similar to the one that are given on the practice problem list. And you can find the practice problems in the lectures folder of each module. Some practice problems are posted in the quiz, test and exam center. And some of the practice problem solving sessions were recorded, so you can review those videos. And if there's a problem that you've forgotten or you don't quite know how to solve, write it down and bring it up during the tutorial session next Monday before the finals. And I'll be glad to go over the steps with you. And in addition to the practice problems, look at the learning outcomes that were supplied for this course. And these learning outcomes are included on Blackboard. Those learning outcomes outline what students were supposed to achieve in each chapter. So, and if you look at the tests you've taken, the test problems clearly line up with the outcomes. So the learning outcomes is like your study guides. And then the final exam format will be comprehensive, multiple choice, quantitative problems where you solve a problem and enter the answer. You would have matching type of problem, just like the tests you've taken up to this point. And as mentioned earlier, the length will be 2 hours and roughly 40 problems. Okay, and so for the seniors, your final takes place on the 12th, and then I don't believe the final schedule for the non-graduating seniors has been sent out. But once it is, I will confirm the date for the non-graduating seniors, and I'll set up a separate exam window for the non-graduating seniors. So are there any questions? Are there any questions? Okay, so it looks like there are no questions. I'm going to take attendance to record, to document who is present today. And those students who are absent, obviously, are still responsible to get the information that was given in this session. And nobody can use the absence as an excuse for not knowing what was communicated today, especially the graduating seniors. If you miss the review session or you miss the final exam because you don't remember the date, that certainly will not be an acceptable excuse. So you can help your classmates by disseminating this information to those who are absent, but let them know that they're ultimately responsible for acting on the information that was given today concerning the presentations, concerning how to complete the presentation and submit it on Flipgrid. So I will let you go early today, especially the graduating seniors, so you can use the rest of the class to prepare your presentation. So do not just let the time pass by. I know you probably have multiple exams and classes, so use the remaining probably 50 minutes to work on your presentation. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Do not wait until the last minute and start firing emails. Your email may come in when I'm not available. I may be occupied with something else. So if you need help, reach out in a timely manner, and I'll be glad to assist. So let me pull up the,
Dr. Tom.
yes.
The presentation is the same due date for the graduating seniors. It's still the May 11th.
Yes,
Okay, just making sure.
for the whole class is May 11th. So your
Okay.
final is May 12th. So that means your grades will not be in before May 12th, right?
Right.
So, but if you fail to submit your presentation by May 11th, then you definitely receive a 0 for the presentation assignment, and your grades will be submitted immediately after your final. So it's important you can submit it earlier, but everyone has up to the 11th to submit.
Okay.
Yes.
You don't do makeup quizzes, correct?
No, there are no makeup quizzes.
Even if you have an excuse?
Well, the course policy is very clear on that. So I'll drop the lowest quiz, but there is no makeup. And given that quizzes, are generally open for a range of days, it's not a one-day thing. So if you fail to take it during that time, then you've missed it.
You dropped the lowest quiz or the test?
The lowest quiz, the lowest test, and the lowest discussion will be dropped.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to record attendance. And this is section 2. Okay, so listen attentively as I call the names. Ask you, Alicia. Ask you, Alicia. Not there. Buka Cabrera.
I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Cofield Analysis.
I'm here.
Dillard Nicole.
Here.
Alphage Lezegvier. Lezegvier is not there. Griffin Raven. Griffin Raven. Not there. Harrison Nathan. Harrison Nathan.